What's happening? Kyle Postaway, aka Malker here at Big Kitty Games. Believe it or not, I took the weekend off. I know it's amazing. Abnormal for sure. But I got a whole bunch of messages backed up in the chat here that I need to at least peek at, see that I'm not missing anything. I think one of the main things was created on the bug tracker, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up as well. Make sure we log in and let's do a ping on the Discord server. I'm not going to post in general till I get caught up. But I'm going to make a little list here. I got too many lists going on. This I don't need anymore, so let's do new bugs. We got practice not working in creative, it sounds like. Let's see what else we can spot. Would like to check that out. Steam mods not working. Workshop not working. Maybe. Let's see. Stribs is not doing all caps anymore. That's great. Just talking about buildings. Here's another ping. What's this now? I guess you could build a building using summoning historical place or NPC within the building. Does that then count as having the NPC in the village? Does the game check to make sure that the NPC and thus the building entire are inside the Solace's power sphere? I had assumed that when I make alternative minor alchemist lists of building, I place a summoning circle in them and that the circle would be saved as part of the template. Then I could select the building as my minor or something, but I do not see the option to use this other building as the storeroom building template. So the sharing of buildings is not intended as replacement tile sets, actual town buildings, only for dress up like your Nordic village in the video. That is incorrect. And I think we're near the bottom. Yeah, we are. Okay, so we'll just read through the rest of this. As long as there was a house decision, blah blah blah, bespoke person, I think. Into buildings. The current monstrosity I was messing with is a little large central building, 3 stories tall. I think the library needs expanding. Storehouse with crane, that's cool. There is a bug, ATM. If you pick up the crate that it spawns with and put it back down, it will fix. I'll look into that here in a little bit. having that building. However, however, having the building, using a summoning circle will add an NPC to that town and mark the town as having that building. However, the building itself will not actually become the building. It will just house the NPC. So if you destroy the town building, it will only destroy the NPC, leaving the building itself. You can, of course, destroy that separately or save that as a template. No current system in place to spawn an alternative building in using the town building interface. So only that one bug perhaps so far. Crafting skills in SP Lab branch and masonry and alchemy icons have disappeared even though shows as points available. They are implemented. Alchemy skills are in beta, so I can earn masonry points. Yes. Good job, Claire. Thank you for the responses. Summoning problem. The building I'm using is 2 wide, 3 deep. Water tiers town has bed in it. Summoning requirements not met. 1 more placed items required. I was able to place the forager, but no others. I've used summoning circles 4 without problems. What were you trying to spawn? Most town buildings require and let's just, let's open it up and check it out. So I'm going to go into single player. We are still on the beta for the moment. We'll have to remember that. What's Pee-Pee doing? Kimiが悪い。アプリ100個空いてるでしょ。いろいろ閉じないと他の開けなくなるからね。ほんで、let's see. I think I can just go ahead and make one. And I don't think it'll let me plop it down here. It might. Yes, I guess it will. And let's see, if we go to upgrades, for example, if you mouse over this, it should show that there's a redding vat required. The forager doesn't need any of that. So yeah, you need to mouse over the house icon. Most buildings require a facility. If you mouse over the town, or what is it, the building icon, it will show you what it needs. Well, that was easier than I thought. Let's check out, so we logged in, head to the bug tracker issues, and we've got some new things. Crafting not working properly in creative. This was fixed. There's another cafeteria too, and it had the same end boss as this cave. We worked this out together when Stu was on line last week. Let's see, crafting not working properly in creative. Definitely gonna look at that. Drinking from a watering can. Only works when the watering can is in inventory and not when it is in harvesting. I'll have to try that. I think I have a watering can. And it probably, didn't close my town window there. That's no good, but, drink. That doesn't work. Interesting. It's not, giving any errors or anything either. Well, that should be easy. Let's figure that out. Let's see. I'm gonna leave you stuff open so we can get back to you in a minute. I might want to, let's see, switch to Ye Old Live branch. Get some of these bugs out of the way first. I'm gonna stage all of this once Sorcery boots up, and I need to make a coffee. I was out of hot water and was waiting for it to boil. It has since heated up to 90 degrees Celsius. I don't believe I have pushed this. This is got the new strength potion. So we're working on buff potions. And now we can switch to production. And I can get rid of these other branches, to be honest. But no need to do that at the moment. And we're going to let Unity re-import the changes. And I guess while it does that, we'll take a peek at what else we can see. Storehouse auto stack and storage rate control. These are enhancements. We'll check out the bugs first. Crafting skills, single player live. Hey Goofy. Summoning problem new. This is not a problem. I'm just going to go ahead and paste this. And I'll leave it open for the moment. Let her close it if that answers her question. This is not a major bug, but I think this is that Stribs guy, not a problem. Skills are currently being added to the beta. It's not a bug. These two are bugs, and we have re-imported. Let's go ahead and reload, so we're not loading our dungeon test level anymore. Let it recompile. And let's go to single, there we go. So I don't actually need to load that up just yet. Let's take a peek at what is happening. That's actually player nutrition, I believe. We want to, and we did kind of change this a little bit, did we not? If it's water, we're going to do that. Different calls here. Yeah, and that's not acceptable. This is just assuming inventory slot, isn't it? No, it's actually passing the server or container slot directly in there. But yeah, it is assuming inventory, so that's not acceptable. So in the event that we are doing this, I think I looked at this not too long ago, but anyway. We need to make sure that this is capable of understanding either inventory or equipment, as the watering can is a piece of equipment. So basically we need to add inventory slot type, and this is now probably going to show no references. Linked container slot number. Container used click. Same thing here though, honestly. Maybe not actually what I wanted here. Yeah, inventory, equipment. Shouldn't actually be using those. Container, fluid container, those are still going to be in one of these. Does anybody actually use that? It is getting used. That's a bit of a problem, to be honest. Wife's getting called into work. Unfortunate. Inventory slot type dot fluid container. That is what it is, but see, this is really it's inventory slot position is what we want. 呼ばれちゃったんパジャマじゃいけないあらららららららら高け4時まで切り替えね切り替え真面目じゃなくていいからなThe question is, do we go through this and What else we got? That makes sense. There's a selection in summoning circle within the building a storehouse. The storehouse, how does that work actually? The storehouse, yeah, there is a selection for that, isn't there? Let's check. Did I save something here? I do, and it's gonna break because it's unfinished. What did we change? What did we change? Was it right here? No, it wasn't here. It was player nutrition. Yeah, let's just give that a try so we can respond to it. I never know how to say his name right. Arcanius. I'm just gonna say there is an option. Let me double check. So I'm gonna craft a summoning circle. And I'm just gonna toss it down wherever. Yeah, it shouldn't matter. I can place it down here just to bring up the interface and storehouse. Yeah, the cost is just building piece 30 or more at the moment. And some of these need to be updated a little bit. Summoning. These take light. Yeah, there we go. Common wood construction. Some of these should take a little bit more of that, but anyway, it should be working good. Yeah. And let's see, so did I just get sidetracked there? I did, didn't I? So I want to look at the inventory slot. This guy itself here. So he's got a type. Equipment slot type, facility slot type, these are useful. Equipment slot type is actually redundant because these are organized by the slot number, as we can see in player inventory during the startup methods here. These all get specifically assigned. Watering can would be down here at 27. Facility slot type is important because these are not specifically defined anywhere, and depending on what sort of slot type it is, it can or cannot accept certain items. And I just closed that, unfortunately. It's under item inventory slot. So honestly, this is just supposed to be slot location. It's either equipment, it's wardrobe, it's interactable, which is basically facilities of all types, or it is inventory. Fluid container and container would be a type, but it's not a position like the rest of these are. So that's actually quite troublesome, to be honest. We can go in there and rework that so that it makes more sense and is being used properly. Or we can find the paths that it's taking to get to the only problem that we're currently encountering, which is these drink commands. Consume. For consuming water, inventory slot type. Well, let's go back to the origin, which would be here. Let's see if we can't find those calls again. Like so. Linked container slot type. Does that work though? Because this is going to attempt to determine whether it's where it is. If we pass in the slot type using this variable and it ends up container, it's just going to call the same. That would cause cyclic problem, wouldn't it? I would like to go through and repair this, to be honest, but there's quite a few places that we're using that. If we go to inventory slot type, look at all of the uses for container, there's a fair amount of them in there. And some of them are a bit important. Linked container number, slot number. But again, you can't assume actually that this is container or equipment. なんでだっけ、子供、妊娠してる？よく具合悪くなるだっけ？あららら。さちえさん？Like we should be looking if we're in the inventory and then looking if it's a container or not. That should be a separate variable. Let's see if we can't actually do that. It's going to take a little bit of time here. What was the other problem we were looking at? Crafting not working properly in creative. I'm pretty sure creative does have some problems, but so let's see here. I think we should switch back to beta for this actually, because I'm probably going to mess something up here in all honesty. And let's see if source tree currently thinks we've made any changes. Yeah, just the meta files. We don't need those. Go ahead and discard changes. I'm going to switch back to beta because this is a bit of a delicate operation we're going to undertake, and if we mess something up, we don't want to mess up everybody that is not participating. in beta. They're live players, and all of a sudden now everything doesn't work. That's never fun. So we're going to switch back to beta. I wasn't in play mode or anything, was I? No, that's good. And I should have waited to finish switching before starting to import. I hope that doesn't bother anything. Probably has confused Unity a bit. I'm actually going to make my coffee while we wait for this real quick. I'll be back in just 1 minute.1人しか。でも YouTube にアップされるからね。だいたい20人ぐらいが見る。全部見ないでしょ。どうかね。そこでポーズして。ちょっと意味わかんないな。Hey Jack, I'm actually working on that right now. That is a problem at the moment. You can drink it from your inventory, but you can't drink it from your equipment, I think is the current problem. Let's double check that. So, 意味なくなってるじゃん。穴隙間だらけで。いいの。It's currently not differentiating between inventory and equipment properly. So if you've got it in your slot here and you open it up and you try to drink it, it's actually attempting to drink from the inventory, so nothing's happening, I think is what's going on. So if I move it here, and I click drink, then it works properly. Yeah, so that is what's going on here. It's not actually saying drink it from the equipment, because this is actually stored in a different position. It's just trying to look here and not finding it. And it's a bit of a silly way that I've got it set up, so I'm going to take the long and proper route to fix it. But in the meantime, you should be able to just, if you drag it into your inventory and open it up, you can drink out of it as normal. So let us see here. We're going to want to go to inventory slot right here, and we're going to want to say, is it a container or not? And we've got containers and we've got fluid containers. Maybe we can just go ahead and say equipment slot type. That would be useful enough. And again, this is a bit redundant given that we know based on the position what's what. But so let's say we do no, it's just the position. It's the command that it's sending to drink is just assuming that it's in the inventory. It's not actually looking at it and saying, is this equipped or is it in the inventory? It's just saying drink from this slot in the inventory. So it needs to be upgraded to understand that the watering cans can also be equipped. I'm going to go ahead and do container type enum, and we'll do null equals 0 is normal. We'll do fluid. I guess we'll do container equals 1 and fluid container equals audio. 何してくれんの？じゃあ行ってきます。じゃあ気をつけて。Wife got called into work at the last minute. And then up here, I'm going to get rid of all of these. Shouldn't actually matter if wardrobe equals 9 or not. No, actually it could. It could. Inventory slot type. Shouldn't matter. And wife has left the building. It's a little dangerous when she goes. The cats try to run outside. Hi, Goofy. Second hi. So I think I'm just going to do that and go ahead and leave wardrobe at 9. Now this is going to create a lot of problems in the code like this. First step, we're going to go ahead and do public container type. And by default, this is going to be, it's a little touchy stuff, but this is a better approach. So container type is equal to, this is going to be called container type is equal to, how do I remember a code? That's a silly question, Goofy. You got to just remember it. You got to practice, you got to study. You got to read books. You got to do tutorials. It's a skill. You got to use your skill if you want to get better at it. You want to get better at archery, you got to shoot bow and arrow for 1,000 hours. You want to get good at code, you got to code for 1,000 hours. Container type equals container type dot null by default. Copy is new is now going to want to pass the container type as well. And reset. It's going to leave. Well, no, actually this shouldn't matter. I don't need this because we've got an item. It's just all that's important is whether the item is the container or not. We shouldn't be using equipment slot or slot type to determine whether it is a container or not. If the item is null, it's not null and it is a container, then we know right there that it's a container. So we just need to change these checks. And at this point, we're already checking if this guy's null or not. Let's see. Well, that's like those saying, you know, you went to one class for karate and now you're not a black belt. You know, you can't just do one tutorial and expect to be really, really good at coding. It takes years to get good at coding. You're not going to just figure it out in a week. That's super normal. Nobody remembers everything that they code after just doing it once. I've been doing this 9 years now, and I'm still learning new stuff all the time, and still pretty bad at it, to be honest. So this is more like if item does not equal null and item is container, or do we want to do and item dot item type is equal to container. So that's more what we actually want to be looking at. And it can't stack. That's silly. If the slot type is container. Oh, that's true. That is how that works. Okay, hold on. This is for within a... No, this does have a use. I'm sorry. I've got confused myself. Yeah, it's skill like any other. Some people can pick it up in, really fast. Some people it takes a lot more work. There's no easy answer to that. That just if you do this, you'll get really good at it, or if you do that, you'll remember it. And I showed you before, for me, I went through the Unity scripting tutorials over and over and over. They made this website terrible. But it is called Beginner Scripting. This has all the scripting methods that you need to know to get really going. Like literally, if you understand all of these, you can make pretty much any game out there, more or less. But these are just dry explanations of how code works. To get good at it, you need to practice, which means you need to be doing something that you like, whether it's 2D, whether it's 3D. You should just be trying to make games, or it doesn't even have to be games, just whatever you think is fun to keep you motivated. You just should keep doing that over and over until you get good at it. So I was forgetting that these inventory slots can actually exist within inventory slots. So if this is actually a container, not an item, then it's going to have its own list of inventory slots, in which case it will have inventory slot types that are container or fluid container. So these checks are correct and are working as intended. The problem is when a player goes to use has been clicked. If we are working with a fluid container or container, we do container use clicked, but we're not specifying whether this is in the inventory or if it is in the equipment. So that's our main problem here. It's still kind of a messy naming convention going on here. But let's see. I think we need to go back another step and see who is actually calling this. So this is in the item details UI. Current inventory slot type is just not enough. How does this deal with that? Because this works. If we're passing in container and it's open, we're doing the get container bit here. So, and the get current container bit is using linked container number, linked container slot type. So this is really what we need here to be passing around with our use function, which is where down here, use clicked. So if we're currently have a fluid container or a container, peek down. No scratching the doors up, please. Basically, we need to just be passing this along as well. This is within the inventory, so we've already got the client. We're actually already in the inventory, so we've got this directly. Linked container slot type. Let's go ahead and pass that as a byte. Cats are going nuts. Linked container number and the current item slot number within that container is what all of this means. So this is, whoops. This is the byte known as the linked container slot type. Linked container slot type. I'm trying to think if I should name those better. I think that works. Inventory slot is now going to, do we have a better method for that? We don't. But again, this is actually going to make direct use of that by, if it's a container, we're going to grab it. That's why that works. So I don't actually need it in this case. It's actually doing that as long as we are a fluid container or a container, which again is what we're doing here. If it's a container, I guess basically we need to do the same thing for fluid container. That might be all that we're missing. we want to do the exact same thing. You would expect it to be throwing no slots to check provided there if that was the only problem. When we open the UI, we actually pass that variable to the server. So it should know the one that we're interacting with before we call this. So it is able to use that variable locally server-side. We better just debug and see where this is going wrong. Use clicked, get inventory slot reference. Slot number I don't actually care about. Let's do debug.log slot dot equipment slot type. And I think I'm going to need a second watering can. I can just drag it out and click to use both. And we're expecting this to show us that it's either in the watering can when it's over there, or it's null when it's in the inventory. Go ahead and check that. That's probably not the problem though, and it's going to go as expected. We're going to move down to turn that into container and feeding the eat here, get inventory slot reference. So this is the real problem. Player nutrition, this is the container slot number. So we just can't assume that this is inventory like this. It's just items within items. It's very confusing to me whenever I get into this. Because the container is an item itself. Yeah, I'm not, and I haven't had a sip of coffee yet. It's not helping. This guy is capable of working with this because it understands this. We really just need to be passing this like so. Now we know either if this is equipment or inventory. This will tell us if it's a container slot or not, and this will tell us the slot number in completion. And this is where the confusion is coming about, because this is not, this is the container slot number that we're passing. And then we're actually just ignoring it. No? If it's inventory, that'll go through properly. Container slot number, which is called from here. Once again, linked container number and the current item slot. Yeah, that looks good. This sounds incorrect. This is the current slot number. I'm not sure how that got set up like that. So this is byte. We can go ahead and just say int, and this is the container slot number. Inventory link, again, this is just the slot number. No spaces. Now, since we're no longer assuming, well, yeah, that should work now that we're passing that in properly. Get the inventory slot reference. Now, if we are passing to this code the linked container slot type, we're doing it the same thing here. We are getting a reference. It should work just the same. And it's going to give us what we're looking for. I believe update inventory slots. That's not acceptable. Again, the check is being made by understanding if this is container or fluid container. So we basically want to do the same thing here. Along the lines of use, container used, back to player nutrition. There we go. So here we want to say if slot type is equal to container or slot type is equal to fluid container, we want to do something other than this. Container slot is going to be the container slot number, and we're going to do a new list to the tune of slot number, like so. And I might need to cast that to a byte. It was already being passed as a byte, so we'll just leave it as a byte. And I think that that should fix it. We are now properly differentiating between equipment and inventory. Likewise, when we go to update the changes. I think that'll work. Let's give it a try. We've got errors. No, it doesn't like byte. I thought it was being passed as byte. Byte container slot, that was coming from player inventory here. Which is a byte here. Container slot number, linked container slot type. That's not a byte. That's fine. Do we have it listed as a byte in player nutrition? Nope. Who's the problem, actually? You want to show me? No, you want to reload everything? Clearing all of my changes? Is that what you want to do? Yeah, that's always much appreciated when you do that. Otherwise try to use, so this is a direct click. This is a right click. Yeah. Client.playernutrition.eat. And actually we don't really want to do that. We'd like to go to use first. Do we have use listed here? Nope, we're going straight to eat. Let's go to player inventory use clicked. This is going to be slot type and the slot number, which we've got here. So let's do player inventory dot use clicked like that, and we had some other problems. Player skills is going straight to eat as well. What is this? Player skills. Somebody actually use you? Oh, that's if you've got a consumable down on the hotbar. So once again, let's just, well, in this case, you can't actually click and drag from a container, I'm pretty sure. I don't think I've actually tried that, though. We should try that. That might throw a funky error. We shall see. We're assuming that this is an inventory link. That should be acceptable to do this. So this is going to be a 0, basically, right? Not using a container slot number. We might even pass it as a -1. Just to make sure if it attempts to use that, it's being passed as a byte, so we can't do that. In the event that it tries to do that, though, it's not even going to make use of that. Only going to make use of it if it ends up grabbing a container or a fluid container, in which case it should not. So that should be fine there. And then there was one more, player inventory 1879. Right here. Command use clicked. If it's consumable or it's fluid. Once again, though, we don't actually know. Slot type, slot number. We've grabbed the slot reference using those. But we cannot assume this is more or less the same thing here, and it cleared all my changes by reloading the solution, so I don't actually know where all of that was. And looks like it's right here, though. So we just changed this stuff, right? Either it's container used clicked or it is command use clicked. So at this point we should know that we're not in a container. And we should be able to go ahead and pass using inventory slot type inventory, correct? 'Cause there's actually no situation could be an interactable, I guess. So we want to do, yeah, we want to do this. Similar thing with the 0. It's just not going to be using that because we're going to be passing it as either, yeah, that should work. So we want to try some different cases to make sure that everything is working. We want to interact with a facility. So I kind of don't want to open up dungeon test because I don't have anything in there. I don't want to open up multiplayer world though because that will break it. So I guess we're going to go ahead and do this. Might have to plop down some facilities. So we can test everything proper. But first and foremost, the ultimate test is, can we drink out of this guy now? We're getting the debugs, but it's still not firing. Okay, so we need to just focus on getting this working first. We are passing in, what is this? No, that's useful. Container use clicked. It's giving us 2, 27, and 4. That's watering can, slot number 4. Equipment slot type that we have grabbed from the slot reference is watering can. We're not getting a container as null, so that's working properly. We've got all our debugs turned on correctly. So we're moving past this, we're moving past this, we're going to this. We are attempting to use the linked container slot type, the container slot number, and then the slot number within that. So when we get here, we're going to get the inventory slot reference for the slot type, and in this event we want to actually get the container slot number going here. We want to differentiate that along these lines. So if we're doing it here, we want to be using the container slot number. And then we want to no, it should be able to pick that up for us because it's going to go to the player inventory. This is only going to be used in updating the container slot number. This is going to make use of this number via player inventory side. I need to stop trying to figure this out in my head and go ahead and go with the code and debug it, because don't feel like I'm making progress here. Let's do, we're making it to here properly, so we've got debug log. Let's go ahead and turn those ones off down here. Well, I'll leave that one on, but we don't need you. And we'll go ahead and close this stuff down for the moment. Let's do debug log slot dot and put it after here, so if it doesn't get called, we know that we're not getting what we expect. So if we're passing in again the slot type as either container or fluid container, this method is going to recognize that, and it's going to use the linked container number. This is within inventory, so I actually don't need those calls like that. Don't need them here either. Let's just add some debugs here for safety. Grabbing container, and we'll do grabbing fluid container here. And once again, if we get past that, those should call. We should be able to say what slot type we've got, and then we're going to consume it. Should be giving us, it wasn't even consuming though, see. Inventory slot. Doesn't actually care where this slot comes from. We're grabbing a reference to a slot directly and altering it, so that doesn't matter. It's really this point right here, because it was not updating at all. Or it's possible server side that this is not updating properly, but no, it is. So let's give that a try. Client.playerinventory.get inventory slot reference. I think this is where things are going wrong. Let's double check. Let it compile. That did not take hold, apparently. Good kitties. So let's see. Let's clear this out. Let's go ahead and move you over here and open you up and drink. And we can see my drink is at 95.2. That'll fill me up, but it'll throw an error if it gets all the way to actually trying to drink it. That did not actually work. It worked before, so we've broken it. Equipment slot type is null. Inventory, watering can. We've grabbed a watering can. Player nutrition 147. That is incorrect. It's not an inventory slot type. So, get inventory slot reference using the slot type has been called improperly. Via one of these two. Command container use clicked. This should be what we are expecting. Right. Equipment slot type. Is that what got called? That did not get called. Did it? No, it did. Okay. Equipment slot type is null, as expected. Container is not null. Container slot use temp. It's all working properly. Linked container slot type. Container slot number. Really? We're going to grab the slot. That is the container itself. And we're just checking against that first. Then we're calling eat, using those two numbers again. And this needs to be container slot number. So yeah, what I was trying to do earlier was correct. If slot type equals container, we need to not be using slot number, we need to be using container slot number. But I thought that this method would handle that for us. So we're going to pass in the container slot number. And when we do, it's not actually going to use this, is it? No, it's not. It's just going to use that to find it. So that is incorrect on this guy's part, isn't it? This needs to go straight to slot number. And then when we pass that over here, it should do the same. Like we already once redetermined. It should go straight to here because the slot type is going to be passed as called linked container number. Let's do linked container slot type. No, it's using the linked container number, right? When we go here, it's going to be using that linked container number. So we want to double check that that's correct server side. I'll let that recompile, give it a try. So this doesn't actually get used until we... So yeah, if we get to... We can't call consume slot because we're getting the container. No, it's going to go through there and it's going to go open up the container. It's going to find the proper slot. We're going to get the slot type. It's showing up as... It was showing up as watering can, wasn't it? It should be container, should it not? Or fluid container? Container is null. Here we go. That's something we can work with. Command container use clicked. Container is null. So you're trying to grab directly using the linked container slot type and the slot number. This has been opened properly, which suggests that our player inventory script is aware that our linked container number is 21, the slot type is inventory. Linked container slot type. So we should be getting get inventory slot reference. Which is inventory slot 21 here. But we're getting container is null. Linked container slot type. And the actual container slot number. So since we're passing in inventory, it's going to go to inventory slot 21. I'm not on ball today or something. I'm having trouble with this. Thinking of too many things at once or something here. Container use clicked. Linked container slot type. and the slot number. This is going to be the slot number linked container slot type. It's just not correct. Current inventory slot type is really what we need to be passing here. Container slot number is what we're passing. And that is being used here. Again, that doesn't actually matter, because we already know what this is right here, linked container number. So what we really need here is the byte of the current inventory slot type. Container use clicked, current inventory slot type, current item slot. This needs to be current inventory slot type, and we don't need that. And we need to pass this like so, grab it properly, and that needs to be cast as an inventory slot type, right? And then our eat function is looking for the container slot and the item slot. But that's not the whole story, is it? We're going to be calling get slot reference again, so we actually don't need you. That is available if we need it. So we want to be passing, again, the current inventory slot type with the slot number. And it's going to use that to once again get an inventory slot reference using those, which is going to be inside of a container because this method handles it for us. If that's the case, we're going to make use of that slot. The only thing we need to worry about is updating either a container or an inventory slot directly. So if it's container or fluid container, we need to go ahead and update container slot. How does this deal with that? It makes use of the linked container slot type itself. So that's good. And it's going to do container slot. We don't actually want to do that so much as like this. That'll just set it to null. And it'll still error after that, but it's just better to go that way anyway. And then we should set a null check here, etc., but I'm not going to do that at the moment. We want to make sure we don't get confused again. So we're not passing this inventory slot types. Yeah, that is what we want to do. We want to pass the original slot type and the slot number straight to eat. And And again, this is actually what I was in the process of double checking. This is going to do the same thing. Container slot. It's going to get inventory slot. No, hold on. Set container slot. It's going to get reference using the linked container slot type. So we're not actually using this. That's the slot number. Command container. What are we doing? This is post eat. We need to make sure we are passing the slot number. But that's what this guy is. No, what does this guy actually want? Byte container slot. Linked container number is what that is. My shift key's been kind of sticky lately. Not always going off as expected. This is an integer, so we need to convert that to a byte to pass through the network. I think that is everything. Update container slots, linked container number. In that event, it's going to use yep, that looks correct. Let's see. Probably gonna get that skills error again, aren't I? Yep. Did not need that 0 as originally thought. Open it up. I'm going to clear it again. And drink. Container is null. Alright, well, still giving us problems. I got to go to the bathroom real quick. It's a 10 o'clock break time. I'll be back in just 5 minutes here. And, it won't actually take 5 minutes, but you know what I mean. And we're back. Let's see. Got a couple new follows on Facebook. Thank you, Keith Isnock. Where's my phone? There's my phone. Actually forgot to do that. Anyway, so and my sound is working right. Let's double check that. Yeah, looks good. So grabbing container. Gets called. I don't think fluid container actually ever really gets used. But grabbing container, equipment slot type, doesn't actually matter. That is call command container used, which is down here. Yeah, we can leave it there though. Container is null goes off though. Command container use clicked. Somebody is grabbing the container within the command use clicked. Current inventory slot type and slot number are being treated as 7 and 4. Where did that 7 come? Current slot type is 7, which is container. So it should be trying to grab the container, which we see here. It does do grabbing container. Linked container slot type. Again, that's being passed in as 7, and linked container number is visible here as 21. But looks like that is returning as null somehow. Well, yeah, we're not asking for the container. We're asking for the inventory slot type now. So this stuff doesn't actually matter. Container use clicked. Well, yeah, this is not important because we're actually grabbing a direct reference to the slot within the container now. So we don't actually care about either of these. So we're not grabbing the container. We don't care about this either. We do need a slot and a slot item, and then we're going to go straight to attempting to eat that. Here is another problem. You can't just toss slot reference in there like that. We're using the current inventory slot type and the slot number. So this is being passed Is this being called by other people as well? Nope, only the one there. And this is set up specifically for eat from container kind of thing, I believe. Otherwise we'd just go straight to here, but we are doing consume on the container slots anyway. This is really the only difference, is making sure that we update the container slots rather than try and just resend the whole inventory every time we touch anything. So not this. This is actually the container slot type. So we're going to cast that like so. And this is actually the item slot, because this takes care of that for us. We want to make sure that the slot does not equal null and the slot item does not equal null. Assuming that, we don't need to do this. We're just going to go straight to consuming the slot dot, yeah, that's it, just the slot right there. Now this is the only thing that's different. We need to update the container slots, which wants the actual number, which we can get via client.playerInventory.linked number, and then we want to cast that as a byte. We only need to update the slot that was changed. Recompile and give that a try. Whoa, when did these get so dirty? Looks like I was working a fryer while I was wearing these or something. And now we should expect to see that we can drink this just fine. That's not what I want you to do. It resets the mouse to the center in Unity whenever I click out and click back in. It gets confused. We're going to do a drink. It drank properly. It removed 10 as expected. That all looks good. So we know that it works in inventory. The real question is if this will even tell us that we are already full, or if it'll let us drink one because we're at 99.9 perhaps. 889. You have drank too much, but even the fact that that goes off means that it's working. We do want it to trigger to make sure that the container is updating properly. So I'm going to go to player nutrition and see if I can't make myself thirsty by turning this down a little bit. And that worked. So now we want to do in our watering can. I'm going to drink it. and it has gone down 4. So that should be working as expected now. Just to double check, I'm going to do that from scratch, just with my equipped watering can there as is. And then we want to peek at creative. And then I might want to go take care of some things before lunch, and then I'll come back after lunch to continue working on potions. This ended up being an easier fix than I was originally planning, so we switched over to beta. But anyway, harvesting, user. I went to drink you, and you worked fine. 10 went down, that went up. All seems well. And just to make sure that something weird hasn't happened. Something weird did happen. Now I can't eat my mushroom because the watering can is open. Works if it's not open. Let's shut you down. Command use clicked if the current inventory slot type is fluid or container. It's not. We're going to go here. Get inventory slot reference slot type, which is going to be not fluid container or nor container. So we should expect this to be inventory 8 or something it was there. And we're going to pass that as consumable, once again using the same numbers. To eat, which is going to go ahead and go straight to that. And we were seeing that it was still linked up, but since we're using these, that shouldn't matter. Inventory. Looks like it was getting passed properly. That was after I turned it off. Prior to that, it was doing this, which is incorrect. Inventory is correct. 27 is not correct. No, that is correct, but we're not actually making use of that. We're using the slot number. Not sure why that did that. So you've got an open container. And you're trying to eat this. Prior to getting to player nutrition, the inventory is going to say command use clicked. This is probably old and not necessary anymore. Let's do command use clicked plus, we'll do slot type plus slot number, just to make sure that those are going in properly, and we're going to get the reference based off of those to work with. And we should expect that to go straight to here, which also has a debug in it. And let's just go ahead and say eat, like so. Let that recompile, make sure that that is all going as expected, regardless of whether a container is open or not. Item details UI should be aware of who we are currently interacting with and pass that on properly. But something clearly didn't go down right there. Lazy kitties. Looks like chat got cleared there for some reason. I'm going to open you up. I can actually right click to do so. And I'm going to eat a mushroom. Command use clicked 1, 5. That sounds correct. Eat inventory 5. Inventory. Where does watering can come from? Container UI gets called somewhere. I'm pretty sure I know where. Let's see. Player Nutrition 147 is doing this, and that's going to go straight to consume, who is then going to call consume directly on the slot. But that didn't work, did it? No, it's not actually consuming anything. And watering can is getting called. But this looks like it should work. 147 is saying inventory. Let's go ahead and pause so it doesn't save. 147 is saying that it knows it's inventory. Slot type, eat. And again, inventory slots number 1 is inventory. That's what that 1 was showing. So we've got inventory 5, inventory 5. So at this point, it knows inventory and 5, and it goes to grab that. Watering can shows up somewhere, but it's actually after this. Debug log slot type is inventory. Okay, but it's not slot type, container, or fluid, so we should be going inventory slot. Update inventory slots based on the slot number, which is going to not be making use of our linked numbers or anything weird like that. Target set inventory slot down a little bit further here. Inventory slots go straight to it, as expected. Who called you, sir? Oh, that's just container UI refresh. Okay, that's fine. But you're not triggering properly. Player Nutrition 147, again, knows that we are getting a proper slot. We're attempting to consume it. Slot.item equals null, return. We better put a drink, something in here. Ah, yes. I think actually this is just caused by we haven't finished updating this stuff. Now, do we have a mushroom template? Or we do, see, so it's going to grab this first, and we don't actually have can be consumed. We don't have these set up yet. Mushroom is 3, so it's now prioritizing these, and these are all consumable. Except for Terabomb. And there my shift key didn't work again. Can be consumed, right? Well, no, raw can't. Nobody wants to eat raw meat. Well, some people do. Cabbage, carrot, leek, lemon, mushroom, orange, pumpkin. You are all consumable. And let's see. I'm going to just drag this over here so I can see it. And we're now putting red meat at... Yeah, 15 is a lot. Let's go with 10. White meat, 10. Poultry, 10. Mushroom. The rest of these are all going to be 3, except cabbage and pumpkin. Cabbage is going to be a 5. Who wants to eat a whole pumpkin, though? But, you know, what are you going to do? I'm a big fan of pumpkin tempura. And they're the smaller, you know, it's not like Halloween pumpkins. They're squash grown for eating. Mighty tasty. So that should work fine. That's what the problem was there, I believe. Let's just double check. And actually, because all of those are in there now, we can remove all of these. Those were all right there, right? Failing all of that, we're going to want you to just go straight to 0. And we didn't set this up yet. Those do have a little bit of hydration too, so I will add that here in a second. Just want to make sure that that works, and it doesn't actually matter if the container is open or not. We can still eat our mushrooms as expected just fine. So we just want to make sure that the meats we're not going to be getting hydration from. Cabbage is going to give us 1. Let's see, pumpkin is set to give us 3. But that's a little weird. How about orange gets 3? Lemon, I won't do -1, I'll just do 0. Because they're so tart. So oranges are pretty nice, actually. Pumpkin, mushroom. I don't think mushroom gets any. Pumpkin. Honestly, leek and carrot. Well, pumpkin and cabbage, I think, can. Pumpkin and cabbage can give you 1. Honestly, though, carrot, leek, mushroom, those guys are all at 0. And then globe of water, we don't have a template for, so we're just going to need to leave him on here. The rest of these we have updated and will be now prioritized as I move the code above it. So we just want to save this guy. And there my shift key is. Again, it's getting kind of sticky or something. Should be good. Actually, we do want to poke at creative still, don't we? Let's take a peek. Hate to admit it, but I have not messed with creative mode in quite some time. Let's get rid of those debugs first. Don't need you. We do have some here. We're just going to comment them out. Player inventory. Don't need you being called on servers constantly. Very good. And let's see, did we, I don't think we actually patched 1.4 in yet. No, yeah, we did. We are now on 1.5. Where we have added strength potions. can now give buffs. I also updated fullness / hydration for most items, and probably some other things. I'll double check here in a minute. So we want to peek at creative. Apparently practice is not working. Fixed for next patch. So we're gonna have to, I think I'll make a new creative world, as those are handled a bit differently. Single player, we'll go ahead and go in with Sasaru. And I'm going to create a new world called Creative 2021. And originally the idea was that some of this would be kept separate from creative. You can see it did bring my stuff in though, so, but you know, if people want to cheat, it's not a big deal. Let's go ahead and turn this debug off, as we don't need that anymore. So I want to craft something, anything. It should just work because I'm in too far from crafting station. It shouldn't matter. In creative, smithing, let's do masonry, arm tools. There we go. Stone hatchet. I've only got 6, but it should let me do it anyway, and it's not. I just did single player, didn't I? I'm just stupid. That's what's going on here. I'm not in single creative at all. It's a whole different button there. Shows you how familiar I am with creative mode. Too much stuff on the plate. Single player, creative mode, creative world, creative world. I named my character Creative World on accident, and these are indeed kept separate from the other files. Anybody could mingle with the files just fine if they were really so inclined to do so. Again, if that's your goal, have at it. Wife left the stove on. Turn that off. Because I am plenty warm. I actually took my gloves off. Is this starting up? What's it doing here? Is it stuck? Doesn't look like it's behaving properly. Are you in a loop, sir? Madam? What are you doing? 0%. What's going on here? Not responding. Interesting. It's been a long time since I tried to use any of those saves. I wonder if it didn't accidentally try to open up an old file structure or something there. Certainly possible. There's checks that go down with the save files to make sure that you're opening the proper version. When we switched into 0.7 last year, we got rid of the old decompression method and some things. Creative might not be checking that entirely properly. Nope, I'm going to go creative. 12/16/2020. I'm just going to delete this guy, as we should with outdated. Let's actually look at some of these too. These are all marked as outdated. Can I update them? If so, I'm going to go ahead and update all of these because it's bad to leave those unupdated ones running around. 2018 is the last time I played Hikage. I don't know about that, but time flies, man. Okay, so we're in creative. Looks like it's loading that fine. Again, this I'm gonna just go ahead and delete. Last played 12/16, it says. Something went funky last time, though. 5, 4. No, looks like it's fine. I'm not sure what that was. Unity has its moments, though. And we've got pretty much nothing. And let's see. So we should be able to just go straight in here, and I clicked armor and I know everything, and I should just be able to click craft and get some knight gauntlets. And that didn't give me any experience. So is that really what he's talking about here? Unable to level smithing, unchecking, but no EXP. So that's what the beef here is, that you can't actually get experience. Okay. Now clicking practice doesn't even do anything. Well, it probably is, but you're just not getting experience because that's all practice would do anyway. Alright, so let's take a peek at that. Let's see here. And do I want to switch to live is the real question here. I can't pull from beta. Or I'm going to pull all the stuff that I'm working on. And I would like to fix what I fixed here, though. That doesn't actually matter. This does matter, though. Yeah, it's pain. I should have switched back to production. Let's go ahead and stage this. I can pull from production into beta, but I can't pull from beta into production. Unless I want all of that going live, which I don't want yet. So this is just the drinking from watering cans error fixed. And it was difficult to find those few lines of code to get them to work properly, but now that they are working properly and we have left play mode, I'm going to switch back to production, and I'm just going to update the lines necessary. Unfortunately, I'm going to do so manually. I could cherry pick, I believe. Is that how this works? Cherry pick. Can I do that? Inventory, item database, player nutrition. Well, I don't want to update that stuff though. Can I choose what to cherry pick? No, I'm not going to do that. So let's recompile. And it's only a few lines. It'll only take a minute. Soon as we have recompiled and reloaded the solution. Yes, please. Recompiling. Still recompiling. There we go. And you don't actually care because nothing open has changed. So let's see. I want to open up source tree here. I want to check out the history of beta changes. And I want to manually apply these to the production branch. So let's go ahead and look at inventory slot. Did I actually change anything here? I did. So let's go ahead and open up inventory slot at line 840. We want to change this to head straight to consume. What am I missing? That's player inventory now. Consume. Oh, sorry. Use clicked. And slot type, slot number. That's good. Okay. And we've also got item database. This is what we don't want to update just yet. Those are the new fullness hydration dealies. Let's go to player inventory. And we've got $9.53. This all looks the same. Container slot. If container is null, update inventory, slots to return. Case fluid container we added on there, but that's not actually ever being called. But it doesn't hurt. It's just the same dealie. Like so. And let's see, 965 is now a bit lower than that. If slot to check count equals 0, we change the debug a little bit here because we realize we're actually in player inventory. We don't have to try and re-establish that connection when we're right in the middle of it. Like so. That's not important, but we'll go ahead and change it. 1387. We have changed this to no longer be like so. And again, this is unimportant, but a little nicer that way, to be honest. That's all we did there. 1828. Big script. Command container use clicked. Linked container number. Nope, we want you to go straight to current inventory slot type and current item slot. Good. And also, let's see, those are just debugs. Let's go check though. 1840, that's down here. Command container use clicked. This is not slot number. This is current inventory slot type. No, container slot type. I've already got current inventory slot type, right? No, I guess not. Okay, we'll go ahead and do that. Container used clicked current this guy, and we want to do you and you, right? Inventory slot, current inventory slot. We need to cast this. Inventory slot types. Yeah. If the slot is null, we want to return. And then we don't need this stuff anymore because we're actually going straight to the slot itself within the container, if that be our case. And we're going to once again use the current inventory slot type and the slot number. And the only other thing was a debug. Player nutrition then is going to, we're going to go down to eat at 140. And we're going to get reference slot type, slot number, just to be a little bit more clear. Slot number consume. And we're actually adding an if check there now. Did we pull that from somewhere else? No. So if it's a container, if, let's see, slot type is equal to container, or slot type is equal to fluid container, we want to call update container slots, and we want to be passing in cast as a byte or client.playerinventory.linked container number with a list containing the only slot that has changed, like so. That should be good. And then down to eat here, we've now got container slot type is what you, sir, are. And we don't want to assume inventory. Item slot is now down here. Probably need to cast that. And I think that that is it. We also added a check if slot is equal to null, just to be sure. Container equals slot item as container works a little nicer. And we're not actually doing that anymore. We're just going straight to consume the slot. And now we're doing update container slots. And we're no longer using you, we're using a byte cast of client.playerInventory.linked container number with the item slot in there. Should be good. Let's give it a double check just to be safe. We can use the same character, but we can't use the same world. Our dungeon test world has goblin dungeons, and we might actually have some items that we don't understand. I don't think I've saved that. Yeah, I do. But that's alright. We know what that is. Goblin penny or something like that. So I want to just attempt to eat a mushroom to be sure that that is working fine. And I want to try and drink from my watering can while it is open, and that's working fine. And we still have a watering can debug going off that I would like to turn off. But everything looks like it's working as expected. This was going off in beta as well. And it's going to choose to reload the solution at an inopportune time. I don't know why it does that. And it did take me to the line I was looking for. I'm going to turn you off, and we're good to go. So now I'm going to close source tree down again and move on to creative. So we want to look at not you, sir, but player crafting. Craft clicked, something along those lines. We're going to check ingredients. We're going to remove resources if we are not in creative. However, this stuff we do still want to call. So actually what we want to do is, I think we want to move this a bit to something more like this. Ingredients, we'll do it like this. If we're not in creative, yada yada yada. Else, if, else, this is all just for removing. So once again, we can do like this here. This stuff, however, we do want to use. This is where the experience gets added. So we'll go ahead and let that fire off. We're going to update stats, crafting, details, and if we're not practicing, we're going to give ourselves the item. That should fix that, honestly. I think that is actually it. There's also the question of workshop stuff not working properly, someone was saying, which is pretty tricky stuff, to be honest. Let's see, though. We don't want to do play. Sorry, I need to go into creative mode. Are you aware that I have clicked the button there, Unity? Already 11:30. Alright, let's do no auto start. We'll do it manually. Creative mode, creative world, creative world. Didn't I delete that one? How come that was still there? We better look at that. It's creative not deleting properly. Creative worlds. Still showing that in there. And so, now we want to craft whatever. We want to practice, and we want to get XP like we did. So I can actually just go bleep, 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 level up, because it's creative mode. That's what happens. And I can actually craft the items as well, put them on, and now I've got boots. And yeah. That should be it for that. I better read this real quick. You can see in Discord, message, get station, improve level, but left the game running. When I came back to it, I went up to a pig, and it failed its second swipe. During this time, I could not get smithing station to improve level. Okay, and then you're talking about attacking a pig. Started to harvest hide, and the prompt for level up skinning popped up. All this in creative mode single player. Problem encountered in both beta and main branches. What is the problem? What's this guy talking about? I could not get smithing station to improve level. Smithing stations don't have levels. They do have tiers. Is he saying he couldn't get smithing station to upgrade? And he's talking about a pig. Not too clear what is going on here. I'm going to go ahead and make a sword. For myself, or a battle axe. And we'll go ahead and make it legendary. And he was attacking a pig. There's a pig, maybe. So this guy's not gonna... I mean, he is gonna aggro, but he can't do any damage to me. It looks like there's a pig up there. Might be a cow or something, but no, it is a pig. And it deleted fine. Crafting tools, skinning knife. That all worked fine. To make a smithing station, I'm gonna need more tools. Let's go ahead and make a pickaxe and a sledgehammer and a hatchet. Put all those on, grab this tree, grab that stone. See if I can't find some ore. There's some ore. And there's some more ore. That should be more than enough now. There's another thing. There's a spider that people... 1 in 1,000 people complains about. The spiders. Base should be back here. I'm trying to craft a smithing station. I'm going to need some metal. So I'm going to need a forge first. Could have just built it out there or anywhere, but no big deal. Let's do masonry facility. Oh no, it's actually smithing. Forge. Place it down. Put some metal in it. Give me the wood back. I also need sawing station. Oh yeah, and I don't actually need anything for any of these, do I? I forget. Like I say, I don't play creative. I'm not used to this. Smithing station. And actually, yeah, well, I don't know. He was trying to upgrade that. We're not even making checks for these, so it doesn't matter in creative. I don't know. I don't think this guy's talking about creative at all. He's just adding some random bug onto another bug post for some reason and talking about 2 completely different things. Pigs and smithing stations. So he said on... Oh, he did say all this in creative mode single player. Okay. Creative mode single player ironsmithing station is not needed. I made tier 3 for some reason, but not enough resources. You know, that's true. I suppose we could make that check to just let you do whatever you want. In creative mode. Does this kind of stuff work? Town rank too low. Not enough resources. So honestly, we should just allow that. But let's go ahead and say fixed crafting to award EXP in creative mode. Creative mode for next patch. I'm not clear as to what you are trying to report. Steven? Were you trying to upgrade a smithing station? Crafting facilities are not actually needed in creative mode, but they are not currently set up to provide free upgrades in creative mode. If that's what you were seeking, I can add that. I started Harvest Hide and the prompt for level up popped up, so don't really know what the whole pig thing is about. Came back to it, I went up to a pig, which previously could not attack, and then killed it. So I don't really know what's going on there, but I won't mark this as resolved. I'm gonna change it to... clear what that is about. I wonder if Bella cleared this. No? I'll go ahead. She said thanks in... No, and she said it here too. I did not want to think fast response. I'll go ahead and mark that as resolved. Let's see. Deconstructed buildings remaining in game. Is this still... Has anybody updated this at all? I don't think. Nobody has seen this. Thank you. I think this is all working as... Nobody's talked about this since, but I'll go ahead and leave them open just in case for a minute here. Vertical dungeon ladder... I have seen this. We better look at that. But in the meantime, let's see. Sorry, I don't have chat open, but nobody's talking anyway. So that is a different patch for itself there. Let's see. 126. This could be number 24. I'm going to go ahead and push these changes in the public build as well. As soon as this recompiles, it should be good to go. Stage all of that, and again, this is fixed not being able to drink from watering from equipped watering cans, and fixed crafting experience not being rewarded in creative mode. Let's peek at enchanting real quick. Because it's probably doing something similar. That's probably going to be under a similar method. Craft clicked. What about... Does this include enchanting? Don't think it does. It's generally handled a bit different. Update, 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 refine, enchanting. It all looks fine. Get recipe. Wrong item type. Check for ingredients. We're checking. That's fine. We're checking. Here we're removing. And that actually gets added already. Fine. So you're good to go. Okay. Just making sure. Yeah. So... Fixed crafting experience not being rewarded in creative mode. That should be it. This is different than the beta that will be going out. So I'm going to push this into version control and switch back to beta. So in the PM, we can continue working on our stamina potions. Or just making new potions in general. I do actually have quite a few posts from last week on Steam still I need to look at. I don't think I need to do that on stream though. So this is what I'm doing here. I switched back to beta, so we're gonna have to reload that. And we will get into this momentarily. I've actually got some bank stuff I need to handle real quick, and then it's gonna be lunchtime. So I'm gonna check out just 20 minutes early here, and I will be back post lunch to continue working on potions and whatnot, if all goes according to plan. Thanks for those that stopped by and the likes. Yeah, I will be back.